Again, I have started recording. What is our goal? We will be landing into this website, and then our test case, according to our test case, we'll be verifying the logo here, and then we will be put our user ID and password here and click on sign in button. Right after sign in, we will have to see an error message, a particular error message. And if we get that error message, then our test case will be passing. If we do not get that error message, we will fail our test case. And everything we will do using Selenium. Does it make sense? And in doing so, we will practice different way you can identify objects. Okay. Now let's start. We will do a test from scratch. Everything we will do from scratch. Now, first of all, you start a new project. You start a new project. What kind of project is that? It will be a Java project. It will be a Java project, and then I'm going to say next. Okay. Let's say I'm going to name my project. When you name your project, it is lower camel case, right? My Selenium practice, right? Normally in work, what we do, let's say we name it meaningfully, right? We will name it, okay, login verification or negative login verification. Remember, we did negative test case and positive test case. Do you remember? So it will be a negative kind of, we do not have a user ID, but we will see like with the negative data, if it shows appropriate error message. So that will be a negative kind of testing. So I'm going to name this project, or let's make it a meaningful name. Negative testing. Okay. And then here, I'm going to say whatever it is, I'll keep it as it is, and then I'll say finish. Long night, Jaman, right? Yeah, come out of its own, Jaman. Yeah, work hard, get into a job, and it will be over. Okay, so here I will say no here, and then my login negative testing, I will expand this project. Okay, so you say you expand it here in the source folder. You do not have anything, right? So I'll say uh, in the source folder, remember, I'm creating a new class. Yeah. Will I create a class or package? Package. If I do not create a package, what will happen? If I create a class, then where will this class go? Will this class work? It will work. It will work. Remember, it will still work. Remember, if you do not create a package, a default package will be created. Okay. Now we will keep our format. We will create a package. We will name our package. Let's say again, you follow your lower camel case, and I'll say the word package at the end, and I'll say finish. Okay, my login negative testing package. Okay, and here under this package, I'm going to create a new class, and I'm going to name this class as what? When you name your class, what is your naming convention? Upper camel case. Okay, let's say um, my main class, my main class. Okay, so here you can say CLS, and I'll be including a public static void main here. I'll say finish. Okay, so my class is created. When I As you can see here, I have included that main method. And what is the reason of that main method? If you do not have testng, your execution will be started from the main method. When you click on this play button, right? When you click on this play button, your execution will be started from the main method. At this point, at this point, do I have anything inside my main method? No. So that's why it is not putting anything in the output. So how your code works, right? If you see things in the output, right? Your output screen is like when I'm talking, you can hear. So when your program is talking, when your code is talking, you will be able to see it in the output. Does it make sense? How your code is working, you will see it in the output. Okay. So now let's say that I'm going to put something here. And what is that double forward slash, guys? Comment. Yeah, it is a comment out. Let me see. Okay. It is a comment out, and then I'm going to put here a system out println message. System out, and then system out dot println to talk to the output. I'll put that, and I'll be putting a message here. I'll say hello, my code execution starts here. Okay. Now if you execute it, you will see that your code is talking to the output window, right? Hello, my code execution starts here. So if you want to invoke a browser, right? If you want to invoke a browser, the thing that I'll have to do first is system dot set property. What I'll have to do? System dot set property. This is the syntax. System dot set property. Guys, can you go mute or okay, okay, okay. All right. So here system.set property, right? We are going to run our code by Chrome, right? By using Chrome. So I'm going to put WebDriver dot Chrome dot driver, and then here we will have to show where our Chrome driver is. For my case, I have already downloaded Chrome driver. I paste it somewhere. Let me see where it is. So let's say if you go to your particular folder, right? You might have Selenium WebDriver, and then can you see I have a folder called where do I have driver? Yeah, Chrome driver 132. So I'm going to copy this, and that is where I have my Chrome driver. So I'm going to put it here, and at the end of it, I'll be putting Chrome driver dot exe. Okay, so when you have this Chrome driver, uh, when you are putting this statement, that means this statement is a statement that you have to. That means you're putting your intention that you want to run your code in Chrome browser. And to do that, you have also downloaded the Chrome driver from the internet, and you have placed your Chrome driver where? You have placed your, let me close this, it's taking a lot of space. You have placed your Chrome driver in this, right? Can you see it has become a very long path? I can make it shorter. Probably I have Chrome driver in another place. Let me see. I think I have my Chrome driver here as well in a shorter path, right? And then inside there, I have Chrome driver. So I'm just going to put up to that. And can you see my Chrome driver is here as well? So I am going to put this instead of this long path. I'm going to put it up to this. Okay. Now it is shorter. Okay. So from that point, I have my system.set property. The next thing, if you want to invoke Chrome browser, right? You have to declare an object of a Chrome web, right? So what is the statement? Mhm. Web driver. Let's say my drb equal to new Chrome driver. Is it what you write? Okay, but will it work at this point? So again, this is, remember, there is no logic here. Up to this, whatever we did, there is no logic. I'm saying you have to write this to put your intention that you want to run your test using Chrome. And then I'm writing another statement here, web driver. I'm creating an object of the Chrome driver so that I can invoke browser. There is no logic up to that point. It is syntax. It is what you have to do if you want to invoke a browser. But at this point, my code will not work. Can you see there is error message here? Because why is that error message here? Why my code will not work at this point? Can anyone explain? Mm-hmm. Right. So this Chrome driver or web driver that we are trying to use, it is a Selenium class, and you can only create an object of a class if you have defined that class somewhere, right? If you have defined that class somewhere, then you can create an object, or you have to have libraries supporting this class where you have the definition of this class. Now these libraries we are calling Selenium libraries. We have downloaded those Selenium libraries from internet, didn't we? So I'm going to right click on my project name, and then I'm going to, can you see there is a build path, and I'm going to configure my build path. This is advanced level. Like if you work as a lead, right? If you work as a senior lead, you might have to write libraries. Okay. Okay. So here libraries add external jars, but at this point, like all of the libraries that you are going to use, it is there in the internet. You will be downloading and associating it with your project. If you have to write something, just it will be your project oriented. You will be writing some code that is your project oriented. When you work in an automation, the only thing that you write, it is your project oriented. Or if you have to create a library for that, to support that library, if you create a framework to support that framework, you might have to write some classes. complicated classes. Other than that, if you work as an automation tester, you'll be working with a team and you'll be writing your project oriented code. Okay, so here in this, like when I'm clicking on the build path, right? What do I do next here, guys? Can anyone help me? I have to add external jars, and where will I get this external jars? Can anyone help me? I have downloaded like these external jars. Basically, I have downloaded from internet and I have saved it somewhere in my drive. Does it make sense? External jars, I have downloaded it from internet and I have saved it in my computer. Okay, so I'm going to say add external jars, and can you see here? Uh, Previously, I think I have I have downloaded all of the jars in multiple places. So let's, I have this here. I'm going to take these two jars and then I'll be back again inside the lib folder. I have more libraries out there. I'll take it and I will open it and then I'll say apply and close. Okay. Now, when I'm coming here, I'm clicking on this. Can you see it is giving me option import Chrome driver and from where or.openqr.selenium.chrome. So now it is giving me option to import Chrome driver. Still there is an error. So I'll be clicking there one more time and then import or now I have to import this one. Now, do you see any other complaint? No, no complaint. Can you see here two lines? These two lines of code is added. What does it mean? This means inside these libraries that I have associated with this project, can you see referenced libraries? If you expand it, you will see all of these Selenium libraries jar files, right? Inside they have big classes, like whoever has created Selenium for us, they have written big classes and they have, can you see org.openqs Selenium? Inside there is a class WebDriver. Over there, can you see there is a class Chrome driver. So that is what we have referenced in our project, this import, right? Whenever you associate libraries here, jar files, and then if you import anything from jar files, remember you are not importing everything from the jar files to your class, because if you have to import everything, it will make your code slower. Whatever you need, let's say you need up to this, we need WebDriver and Chrome driver only, and it has imported only these two part here. Does it make sense? What does this import means? So from this we are bringing only these two class in this particular class. Now I have my driver, right? My driver, and then I can use the driver my drb, right? Dot. One second, let me put my pen. Okay, my drb dot get. Okay, so I will be going to that particular page. I'll be taking, okay. So the URL was, what was that URL? Okay, let's say login. If you go one step behind, okay, up to this. So this is my application URL. There are a lot of advertisement guys here. I'm just showing something. Don't worry about this advertisement. So here, this guy, whoever has made this website, they are making money from this. So if you make a website, you can make money too. A lot of people, if they visit your website, you can bring Google AdSense and you'll be making money from there. So here I'm now invoking the browser. Okay, now if I click on the play button, right? If I click on this play button, let's see what happens. I might see some failures.
The virtual machines are usually slow because they're using a server, right? That they're using a external server. Unless like you're paying for it, it'll be probably slow.
No, but I don't think he's using virtual on this, right?
No,
Yeah.
no,
No, you're not. Oh,
Jaman, even if you do virtual machine, no server. It is an individual machine inside your computer.
oh, got you. So it's not okay.
It
That
is,
makes sense.
I'll show you what it
Um,
is.
yeah. I have there's this company that does a cloud. Essentially, like I just see the screen, but the the hard work is done by their servers, like the whole like all the graphics processing.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But so this is within your own hardware.
So you still get time to play video games?
Used to, not anymore.
Nipa,
Uh,
do you play video games?
No, but my brother does.
Hmm. Nipa, what about you? Do you play video games still?
muted him. I think he's unmuted.
Yeah, I used to play like I when I was in college, right? I used to play, but after that, you know.
I mean, if I play now, like my wife will kill me. It's just too many things to do. Uh,
Okay, guys.
like
So here, can you see our beautiful code was able to bring the website for us, right? So the website is beautiful. Our code is beautiful too because it was able to bring the website. Now, the next thing that we are going to do, we are going to make sure that your logo, right? Can you see your logo and new experience? We are going to make sure that this logo is displayed. We will verify that the logo is displayed and then we will click on the sign, right? So how will you do that? How will you do that? So few things that I will explain at this point regarding object identification. Okay, please note that how we are handling this. Now, can you see in this particular? Let me make this screen bigger. And here, in this particular your logo, right? Right click and can you see the inspect button, guys? You click inspect button and and I will do this one more time. I'll do this one more time in inspect. Okay. Now, can you see that this particular logo, right? For this particular logo, let me make this one bigger. Okay. Let me move this. Oh, it is gone, right? Okay. One more time. Inspect. One more time. Inspect. Let me make this one smaller. Okay. Now for this logo, right? If you put your cursor here, can you see it is highlighting on that logo? Okay. And then can you see all of the element? How this element are built up? Everything is each of this code is related to an element because the element is created by this code. Okay. So here for this particular logo, first of all, it is a div and it has an id. Can you see that logo? It is a div. What is the tag name? Tag name is div. Whatever, can you see each of the line is a html statement. Each of the line is a html statement, right? That div, when you put, can you see less than sign and then the word div? So that is the tag name, HTML tag name. and then that tag has an attribute id. That tag has an attribute id, and that id has a value header logo. That id has a value header logo, and then that div started here, and then inside the div, can you see there is another tag, that is a. A means anchor. In HTML, A is another tag. And that A has attribute href. Mhm.
I think you're frozen.
Oh, really? Can you see my screen? I'm in this particular. Can you see my screen is flickering kind of? Can you see this? Can you see like it is, I'm moving from object to object? Can you see this? Jaman, can you see I'm moving my cursor? You cannot see?
Yes, yes.
Nipa, can you see I'm moving my cursor? Okay, okay. So note this, each of this line is a HTML statement, and div is a HTML tag, and that div has an attribute ID. And what is the value of that attribute? Header logo. And then inside the div we have an anchor, which is a link, and this is a tag name a, and href, this is the attribute, and this link is attribute value. And that inside that anchor there is another HTML tag. What is that? Img, image, right? that has that has a class, and that has a src, that has a alt text, right? All of this. And now can you see the a tag has started here. When you see forward slash a, that means a tag started here, a tag ended here. Can you see that div started here, div ended here? Can you see this img, right? Can you see this img? So what happened to that img? Where the img started here, but where is the ending point? The ending point of this img?
Seem to. Would it be where the a tag ends, or no?
Yeah, the
Actually not.
img started here, that img done here. Before a tag started, the img is done. Now we can you see how many elements? First of all, this logo is enclosed in a division, in a div, and inside that it is a link, and inside the link there is a image, right? There is a image. So you can identify this object in multiple way. Can you see that logo jpg? So that jpg file, that jpeg file is the main logo. So you have to make sure that that logo is displayed. We can do this in multiple way. Okay, we can do this in multiple way. First of all, let's try with this, right? Let's try with this, that div id, okay, header logo. So uh, how do you identify that item by id? That is what we are going to do in our code. So we are going to write a code here, my drb dot get no, not get, my drb find element. See, find element, and then here I'm going to say how I'm going to find that element inside this parenthesis. Dot by dot id, by dot id, right? And then we will give the id. Now, can you see it is again complaining about something, right? By.id. What is that ID? We'll have to give that ID. Now, if you come back to this website, right? Now, what is the ID of that by ID is this. You copy this, you double click on this, double click on this, and you copy this, and you put this here, near code. Okay. Now, let's say, this is a we are getting a web element and we are identifying that web element by this header logo, right? And what we can do is how we verify, right? Um, let's say that dot. Now you put a dot and then is displayed. Can you see the is displayed? Now we are going to declare a variable here. We haven't learned the variables. So there is a variable called boolean where you can say true or false. So I'm going to declare a variable uh, as, boolean result, and I'm going to save this boolean result equal to. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a system out println message, system dot out dot println.
You have to create like a if function for this, like if logo displayed, then print.
We'll do. We'll do.
Actually,
We'll
no,
do before that.
Yeah, you should have in a different way, like expected title and actual title. We can do it that way.
Yeah,
too,
we
right?
will do it eventually. We have to bring test ng, but we'll do that. I'm doing from basics. This is our very from the beginnings. What will happen? Can you see that if that object is displayed, then the whole thing, the whole statement will return a true, and the true will be stored in that variable. And if it is not displayed, then it is something else. So if it is displayed, it will bring a true in this variable, and then that true will be printed here. So now I am going to execute it. Okay, so now if you take a look at your code here, right, what do you see?
if the logo, which was identified by the ID name header logo, was displayed, and if it actually, like, it looks like the code, it just says to print out the what am I saying here? So if
what it's saying is that if the header is there, then it'll print out a true statement as because it's a Boolean statement.
Yes, so like it looks like you did a Boolean result equals to my drive that find element, and what that just means that if it is displayed, meaning that the find element they find the logo, then to print out, true, because the Boolean result is the result of my drive dot find element.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it well, but I completely get how that works.
Right. So we got true because the object is there. That's why we got a true. If it is the object is not there, it will be something else. Okay, just up to this you understand it in that way. Okay, let's say that we got the logo. And why we can say that we got the logo? Because we got a true, right? If it is something else, then okay, we didn't got the logo. Does it make sense? Okay, so from here what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a cosmetic thing here on that object. I'm going to highlight that object. For highlighting, this is another thing that I'll be bringing. I have a code snippet that I'll be using to highlight that object. That is, let's say that let me go back to my previous code and bring that highlight method. I'll explain it. You guys already know we did a lot of highlighting, right? So let's say in there, no, I don't have the highlight. CLS method. Okay. Do I have a highlighter? Let me see if I have this highlighting code here. No, I don't have the highlighter here too.
Stack Overflow. Just Google it.
No, I have it here somewhere. So I'll bring it.
I have it. Should I post it on chat?
You can. You can. I think I got it. I have it here. So I'll be able to get it. Yeah. My highlighted method, let's say this is my highlighted class, right? I'm just going to copy this class. Let me see if I have a copy, and then I'm going to put this class here. Best. Okay, my highlighter class is there. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to create, remember I have a class in another project. I brought that class. I'm going to explain why I brought that. I'm going to create an object of this class. Okay, I'm going to create an object of this class here in the beginning. You will see that. Okay, and then my hlt obj equal to new. So I've created an object of that class. Remember, in the beginning we were talking about object oriented. What is object oriented? I have a class here. What is the name of this class? My highlighter class. This is another class in another space. Now inside that class, can you see I have a method here, highlighter? Can you see public void, and I have a method here? You will learn all of this. I will explain all of this, but before that, I am actually showing you before I explain thing. It will take time, but before that, I'm showing an example. What is that class and object concept, right? I have created. Can you see? I have created a object of this class. What is the name of this object? The name of this object is
HT.
my HLT, my HLT object, right? Now I'm going to use that object. If you put a dot operator here, can you see highlighter? Can you see this highlighter? Right? Or let's say that you name it this highlighter, right? You name it my highlighter, my highlighter method. You name it in that way. And then if you go there and if you put your dot here, can you see my highlighter method, right? Now this highlighter method will need a driver, right? What is the name of our driver? The name of our driver is my dear B. The name of our driver is my dear B. I'm going to put my dear B, and I have to give a web element. I have to give a web element. Now, what is that web element? we have identified an web element here. Up to this is the element. So this is the element. So I'm going to put that element here, right? Right. Now you execute one more time. Let me see. I have a text. Some okay. Nightby is dropped. Let's see. Oh, you put the code. Thank you, Nipa, for that. So now from that point, let me close that browser, right? And then run it one more time.
Because I think I changed the name.
Okay, what is that?
Or my highlighter.
Okay, my highlighter method, right? And my highlighter method, and here, oh, my highlighter class, I need a semicolon, right? So that was the only problem. Okay. Now, if you save it one more time, all the error should be gone. All the error is gone. Now, if you execute, right? Let's do this execution. Okay, what do you see?
The logo is highlighted.
The logo is highlighted, right? Can you see the logo is highlighted? Okay, so here, what is happening here is we have highlighted the logo in yellow color, right? Let me go back. Let me go back there in the code in the highlighted class and explain it here. So what is happening in the highlighted class, like when you are calling this method, you are passing your WebDriver and you are passing an object that you want to highlight. And what is happening here, the WebDriver is coming here and element is coming here, and then this again, this is, you do not have to understand this at this point. We are executing a script, right? We are executing a script. We are highlighting this object in yellow color. In yellow color, let's say you do not want to highlight in yellow color, you want to highlight in blue color, right? You can do that. And if you execute it one more time, you will see that. Let me execute it one more time. So it is now highlighted in it is now highlighted in blue color. Does it make sense? Okay, so this now let's come back. So this highlighted part we will be using just as an example. We will keep using it. We will understand it more in the future. So we have identified that object, and we have what we did. We have highlighted that object. We have highlighted that object. Now, before we do anything else, let's say I'm going to declare an web element object here. My, let's say web element. Let's say my web element. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, so I'll have to import that web element part, import web element. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put that web element in a, I'm going to put this, okay, and then I'm going to use my web element dot displayed, and then when I'm, yeah.
I'm so sorry. There's a problem at work that just came up, and I have to go. I have the keys to the safe.
Mhm.
So unfortunately, I have to go right now.
Okay.
I can try to keep up on my phone, but
No, it will not make sense.
That
You go take care of your
this
work.
makes sense. Okay, yeah, but like so far, this makes sense. Um, and I look forward to the video.
Yeah, we will keep doing it, and you can watch the video later. Whatever we have discussed, that we will be doing, we'll be doing it. We'll be completing the whole thing, and I'll be posting the video. Keep an eye on it. Okay.
Okay, awesome, awesome.
All
All right,
right.
all right.
No problem. So, guys, so at this point, what we did, like we have put the object in a, we have put the object in a variable, and then we have passed that variable to highlight that object. Then what is the next task that we are going to do? We are going to input a value. We are going to click on that sign in button. We are going to click on that sign in button, and then we'll be inputting the values. So here, to input a value in that sign in, right, we'll have to inspect that object. Again, I'll be inspecting that, and I'll be inspecting one more time. So if you take a look, now for this sign in, right, for this sign in, it has a Nipa, what is the tag name? For that sign in link, what is the tag name?
It's A.
It's A, right? It's A, and then it has some attribute. What are the attribute it has? Class equal to login. Normally, we have explained that we do not want to class to identify object because multiple element might have the same class, right? Multiple elements might have the same class, so that's why we do not normally encourage people to use class to identify object. Okay. Now this class login, and then we have another attribute href, and it has a value, it has a link, right? And then we have a relative attribute no follow, and then we have a title attribute login to your customer account, right? So these are all of the attribute that sign in link has, right? Give me a second. Hold on. 1 second. I'm coming back, Nipa. Okay. Okay. So here I'm going to identify that object. Let's say I have um, title, I have class, I have href, I have also text sign in, right? So which one you want me to use to identify that object? Href. Okay, we can use href. So to here, if you use href, what kind of syntax you have to use? You have to use xpath. To use xpath. Now let's do this. We are going to use href and xpath. So I'm going to copy this link, copy link address, and I'm going to go there. So I'm going to put again that web my web le. You already did all of this, Nipa, right? Yeah. So here I'm going to do my brd dot find element, right? And then we'll do by dot xpath, and we'll be putting our xpath, right? And when you do putting our xpath, what do you do? What is your tag name here? First you put a uh, double forward slash, and what is your tag name for that? A. Tag name is A. Tag name is A, and then inside the tag name, we will be putting, what is the tag name we are going to use? Href. This is the attribute name. Href equal to, right? Equal to, and you put a single quotation, you put that value, right? Now you have identified that object, and now I'm going to that my URL, right? I'm going to do a highlight on this my URL. How do I do highlight? I will be copying this line and I'll be putting it, and then it will be highlighting. Let's see how it goes in terms of identifying this, if it is able to highlight that. Okay, can you see we are having issue, right? uh, Exception here. It is not able to highlight that my sign in, and we have error message here. Let's see what is that error message, and we will sort it out. No such element exception. No such element, unable to locate method XPath, right? Can you see all of these big messages? A, then href, right? And then this. We are not able to identify the object. Now, can you tell me what is the problem here? Remember, when you put href, what is the syntax we learned? We have to put a at the rate sign, right? Let me bring this list of that we have learned. So if you go to our previous thing that we have discussed, right? Let me bring this Selenium WebDriver and object identification. Where is that resources code? Okay, slides, test cases, HWs. I think here we have put this syntax. Let me bring it. So we have to do at the rate sign. I'll revise our syntax a little bit from there. Okay, I think we have the syntaxes at some point. Let me see. Syntaxes. Oh, yeah, right. Okay, so when you put your XPath, right, driver.find element XPath, you put the tag name, which is A, and then you put your attribute name. And before attribute name, you put at the rate sign, and then you put attribute value, right? Remember this syntax, we have discussed a lot on this syntax, okay? Now, let's go back to our Eclipse, and we have put that at the rate sign here. Let me put that at the rate sign, and let me do the execution one more time. Is it now identifying, highlighting that sign in button? Okay. Now, what are the other ways you can identify that object, right? Let's say that, let me right click, inspect, one more time inspect, right? Now, if you take a look, we have identified that by href, right? And then on top, can you see title? We are going to identify that object by title now. We'll write another XPath to identify that by title. So here, I'm going to close this. Let me close this. Okay, close this console, and I'm going to comment out this line, right? And I'm going to write another line. My web ele equal to my drp dot find element, right? Find element and by dot xpath, and then you come here, you put your double quotation, and inside the double quotation, now you put again the tag name is a, and then you put your box bracket, and inside the box bracket, now we are going to identify that object Now what is the syntax? Your at the rate attribute name equal to single quote attribute value. Now what is your attribute name? The name of the attribute is title. And what is the value of the title? This is the value of the title. And then um, that's all, right? That's all. So and then after that, now we are identifying that object by another attribute, and after that we are going to click on that object, right? How do you click on that object? My dot. Okay, let me do this. Did I started my recording after I paused? Yep. Oh, let me see if I am. Yeah, it is still being recorded. Okay. So here now can you see it was able to click on that sign in button after highlighting it? So that means we have identified that object in a different way as well, right? Now I'll do one more way of identifying this object. So let's say that if you have to identify that object by link text, right? How will you do that, Nipa? So let's say if you have to identify that object, inspect one more time, and you are going to identify that object by link text. Remember in Selenium there is another way you can identify that object by link text. What is the link text here? For a link, we know that all link will come up with a link text. Do you see any text here? No, it has. Can you see the anchor tag started from here, and then there is a greater than sign here, and then it ended here. After that greater than sign, before that less than sign, can you see this sign in?
Yeah, sign in.
So this is the link text. But if you double click on this sign in, can you see with the sign in word, it has some other thing. Do not it? It has some empty. Can you see like some empty spaces, right? So that means when you say link that less than sign, everything is link text, right? So let's say if you write this syntax in another way, there is another way you can modify that object. Let me close the console, right? You come here and then let me comment this one out as well. And then I'm going to write the syntax in another way. I'm going to identify that object in another myOABLE equal to find element, right? Find element and then by link link text, right? Remember, you cannot use link text because with link text you will see what happens. Let's say I'm going to say link text and I'm going to put this link text here. Oh, let me copy the link text from out there and double click.
It has space, so we can do contains.
um see here, we are not writing xpath. You put contains only when you have xpath. Now can you see how it is messing up your code? If you put link text, you will have to have so many things, and that is where it will not work, right? Can you see? So what you will do, instead of link text, you will put, there is another thing, partial link text, right? There is a partial link text. And what will you put in that partial link text? If you go there, only sign in, you will copy only this. Okay, okay, sign in, will type it, we'll put it here, sign in. Okay, so now you execute it one more time, close everything. Okay. Okay, now it was able to highlight that sign in. We have identified that sign in by partial link text. Does it make sense to you how you did it? Very good. Now we are going to do a email address. We are going to input a test email address, and then before I do that, I'll have to inspect that. So I'm going to inspect that button. That sign in. Where is that? Yeah, this one, right? So if you inspect that, what do you see? This is the element, right? It has a class. We do not use class to identify object. It has an ID. Can you see ID equal to email? When you have ID, then ID is the best way to identify object, right? So we are going to go there in our code, and we are going to write another block. Same way, we'll keep a little bit break here, and then my web LE. Remember, we have declared a container here. We are using the same container to store this object. Every time I'm putting a new object, the previous object is going to be erased, right? So you come here and put my drb dot find element by dot id, right? By dot id. I'm able to use id. Why? Because I have that id attribute there, right? By dot id, and I'm going to put email. What is the value of that id? Email. And then I'm going to do a highlight dot, oh, where do I have my highlight? This is the one I'll be using highlighter, and after highlighting I'll put a value there. How do you put value there, Nipa? You click dot send keys, right? Key you want to input, let's say I want to input there test at test.com, right? And then for the password, let's do a little bit analysis on this. For the password as well, if you go there, right, if you inspect this, right, so here that password has a id as well. And what is the id? Can you see? PASSWD. Do you see this? If I make it a little bit bigger, and okay, can you see what is the ID for that ID?
PSSWD.
PASSWD. So I'm going to copy the same block. Going to copy the same block, and I'm going to put it here. And I'm going to use, I'm just going to PASSWD, right? And I'm going to put a password. I'm going to put a password test password. Okay, let me execute it one more time. Okay. Oh, there is a syntax error. What is that syntax error? What is that syntax error? Let me see. Oh, there is
Extra.
there is an extra. Okay. Now let me save it. Save it. Okay, it is gone. Let me execute it one more time. Okay, click on login, and then I put this. Can you see I put this test.com and all the values I have input by code, right? It is there. Okay, so from there, next thing is I have to click on that sign in button. So to click on that sign in button, like can you see also, like when I'm opening the browser, the screen kind of opened with a smaller screen, right? So what I'm going to do here, I will go there when I am opening the browser, right? Uh, Here I'm going to say my drv dot manage dot dot window dot, right? Now if I run it one more time, let me close all of this. So it has opened the browser. The first thing that it will do, it will maximize that browser, right? It has opened the browser before it highlight anything, or can you see it will maximize the browser. It will click on sign in, and then it will input this value. Now my next activity is to click on that sign in button, right? Now let me inspect this sign in button, inspect. And here again, I'll have to inspect it one more time. And then for this sign in button, right? Inspect, is it this one? Yeah. So yeah, I think it is the whole thing. If I do a little bit in a oh, so I'm clicking right clicking on this, and then can you see it is, first of all, it is a button, and then it has an ID, submit login, right? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to double click. It has an ID, right? So I'll be again, I'll be putting this, I'll be writing another block here. And what will be that block? Again, this is a button, right? I'll be putting the ID is this, and I'll be now, instead of inputting a value, what I'll do, I'll be doing click, right? I'll be doing a click, and running I'll be running the code one more time.
Semicolons.
Two semicolon will not create any issue. Okay, it is opening the browser. Right, and it was able to click on the sign in button, right? The next thing, our goal was to verify that error message is displayed. Can you see this authentication failed? We have to make sure that this error message is displayed. Okay, so how will you make sure that the error message is displayed? We will have to identify that error message. Let me inspect this error message, right? And then we inspect one more time. Okay, so here can you see that authentication failed? If you can make sure that this authentication failed displayed, then that means our code is good, we are good, right? So authentication failed. What is, like, if you want to identify that object, what is the tag name here?
DID.
Hold on. How it is authentication failed, right? Authentication failed here, right? Can you see? What is the tag name here? What is surround li list? It is a list item li. So we have to write a X path, and then we will be we'll have to highlight that. So we'll write an XPath, but what is the text in it? The text in it is this: authentication failed and there is a dot, right? Authentication failed and there is a dot. Does it make sense? So I am going to write another block here, another block of code. Let me remove this unnecessary. Okay. Verify, login. Now here my web equal to my drb dot find element, and here by dot xpath. Now XPath, what XPath, what is the tag name here? Li, right? And then I'm going to put this, and I'll have to identify that object by text. Does it make sense why I have to identify this object by text? Because when you take something, like, can you see after greater than sign, before less than sign, whenever you take something, this is text, right? Do you remember? And when you identify object by text, can you see the syntax, right? Tag and text, you do not have to put at the rate, you have to put this bracket, and then you have to put equal to, and then you put the value of the text, right? So we are going to do the same thing here to identify that. So let me go back to my Eclipse and let me put it here, text, right? And I have to put this this, and then I'll have to put, actually after that is equal to, and then I'll have to put semicolon, and what is my text? Authentication failed dot. Now this authentication, right, if you take a look here, that is how it is. If we are authentication failed and there is a dot, right? So what we are going to do here, I have identified this object, put this object in the web element. Now I'm going to highlight. If I can highlight up to this, I should be good, right? So let me do another execution. Let me close this browser and run it. Okay, now can you see I'm able to verify that this authentication field displayed there, right? Authentication failed displayed there. So if I want to move forward a little bit with my verification, right, let me go there. I'll put a if statement here. If, or let's say that this is the web element, right? I'm going to declare a variable here, string, let's say text displayed, right? And put it here, web element, my web element, right? This is my web element dot get text, right? Get text. So from the web element, I am extracting the text and putting it in this variable, right? And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a if and else statement, else, okay? If right, dot this equals, right? Let me see. Equals what? The text displayed, I have text in that variable. If that text equal what? Equal authentication
Application failed.
failed dot. If that equal, right, then I'm going to say system out dot out. Give it a little bit time. System out dot println println. I'm going to put here that the error message displayed. Else I'm going to say error message didn't display. Okay, so now if you run it one more time, okay, so you'll see that the page is being loaded. Okay, sign in. It is going to click on sign in, and then authentication failed. And then if you look at in our here the error message, it is saying that the error message didn't display. So why it will say that that means our condition that we have written over there, it is authentication failed dot, right? What is the what can you see anything that why it is saying that the error message didn't display? Can you see anything that catch your eyes? So
Space after the dot.
no, there is no space after the dot. Can you see here? Um, First of all, we captured the text from the element and put that text here. And then we are saying that text displayed equal to this, right? The text displayed in the screen is, if it is equal to this, then okay, error message displayed, otherwise error message didn't display. Now, why it is saying that? Can you see anything? Anything catch your eyes? Okay, let me show you. Can you see this authentication? There is a N missing here.
Oh, there's
So that's why when we are comparing the text from the screen versus the text from where your actual text, that expected text, right? It is not matching. So if you run it one more time, Okay, now if you go back to the screen now, can you see the error message displayed instead of error message didn't display? Does it make sense now? Okay, so the goal was to complete up to that, and Maksubai will not be able to take the interviews today. Let me stop recording here.